Well, Jenna, I'm speaking as somebody that has an MVP vote for the NBA. Sorry, Nick, but yeah, I do, and have for the better part of the last 25, 26 years.
What a way
so I'm
to
speaking
start
from
the
experience.
Morning. Jeez.
Just kind of needle in there.
I'm sorry, yeah. But no, I think Hub Arkush is wrong, period. You have to keep it to on the field, okay? Now, if a guy has been, guilty of domestic violence, if a guy has sold drugs while he's in the league, if a guy has, shot someone or point shaved or something like that, that's one thing. All wrongdoing is not created equal. But you don't like Aaron Rodgers because he's arrogant? Aaron Rodgers, you don't like that he demanded a trade in the offseason? You don't like that he lied to the media. The media. He didn't lie to his teammates. He didn't lie to the organization. And he's wrong. Don't get me. I'm not defending what he did with the immunization. But he did. His teammates and the organization knew his status. It was the media that he lied to. So, and then to say he's the worst guy in the league, I mean, we just saw what Antonio Brown did, quitting on his team, and Antonio Brown's track record. There are guys guilty of, as I mentioned, domestic violence and hitting women and things like that. So he went way too far. And this is just wrong to hold that against Aaron Rodgers. He said he's not the only voter who feels this way. He said he knows for a fact, he guarantees that someone else is not going to vote for Rodgers. So hopefully if the voters feel he deserves it on the field, then he'll get the award. Yeah. And Nick, how far do you carry this? Do you say that a guy, because you don't like his character or his personality, he can't make the Pro Bowl? That, he can't be in the Hall of Fame? I know there were character, questions about the Hall of Fame too, criteria. But obviously, you got some guys in the Hall of Fame who've done some crazy stuff. So I think this is wrong all the way around.
Well, I think you're looking at it from an interesting angle. I want to kind of put it on its head in a moment. But first, I have some biases to disclose here. The first one is this. I picked Aaron Rodgers to win MVP before the year. I also, a couple months ago, when it was not trendy, when it was not popular, sat here and said he's the MVP. I think Wildes and Broussard still had Brady winning it. Maybe Wildes had Russell Wilson. I'm not sure. We'd have to check the archives. Other disclosure here. As I'm sure all of our Chicago viewers, listen to the Parkins and Spiegel show on a nearly daily basis. I've known Danny Parkins for 20 years. It's a great show, and I listened to this full interview. And I want people to understand that Hub Arkush's biggest issue with Rodgers is not vaccination related. It's actually offseason related. He said going into the year, he had basically decided Aaron Rodgers was ineligible for league MVP. I obviously disagree with that because I think he is the league MVP. But Wildes, before the woke mob comes to put poor Hub Arkush in his cancel culture casket, let me defend him a bit.
Coffin or casket?
Because this same exact rationale is used to make MVP cases quite often. When we were debating Rodgers versus Brady, Brady's offseason, Brady bringing the team together, Brady holding workouts, Brady being the ultimate leader, Brady being the reason guys come there, those don't show up in the stats. And yet, when MVP cases are close, Wildes, we often pull from them. So, if Hub Arkush or others believe that Rodgers' offseason hurt the team, that Rodgers' vaccination status hurt the team, and he thinks it is a close race, and that therefore knocks Rodgers from 1 to 2 or 1 to 3, I think that's totally legitimate and is part of MVP voting that always, it's never, the reason I pushed back when I was making the can Mahomes get in the conversation discussion, which he obviously is not anymore. And I said, it's not just stats. If it's just the numbers, then don't have voters. just type it into an algorithm.
Don't have voters.
It's always been more than that. So while I don't think Rodgers' offseason or the mid-season vaccination nonsense hurt the Packers enough to cost him the MVP, because they're still the 1 seed. They clinched the 1 seed. His play was phenomenal. So I don't think he wouldn't lose my vote if I had one. But I don't think the rationale here is as outrageous as the entire Twitter sphere seems to think, wanting Hub's vote stripped. This is why media shouldn't vote. This is why Chris Broussard never should have had a vote. Nobody said that. That was just me. I just think that I think that is unfair. I don't think his rationale is that outrageous.
I agree with you. I think you're right on a lot of points. I think this raises 3 interesting questions. And Broussard, you touched on the first one. Number 1, what are the parameters of MVP? If it's just on the field, let's have robots vote on it. And certainly you went to the extreme of, illegal stuff happening. That obviously is out. But, where do we land? Obviously, Brady gets credit for, building that team. But do you, what if you're a bad tipper? Does that hurt your case? What if Aaron Rodgers, and he actually did this, donated $1 million to 80 small businesses in his California hometown, according to People.com? Does that then weigh towards his MVP? It's a very tricky idea, but the idea that it's just strictly between the lines, I don't think that's necessarily the case. All right, question number 2. I don't know if Hub can determine Aaron Rodgers' motivation. Perhaps all of the offseason drama, what if that was a Jordan-esque thing to fire up the team? We know Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers posted that last dance meme, and then next thing you know, they're playing great. So maybe what Hub views as, a distraction is actually motivation. And the third question is this, Broussard. Why is there so much outrage towards this? Why? Because Aaron Rodgers himself, after the vaccination ordeal, the immunization ordeal, was asked by McAfee, hey, you're probably never going to win MVP again. I think that's a legitimate statement. So Broussard, Aaron Rodgers himself expected this to happen. It's almost like he knew that sort of his off-the-field antics, let's say, were going to cost him an MVP votes. Are you surprised there's so much pushback on Hub announcing that he's not voting for Aaron Rodgers?
I'm not surprised, and I think it's deserving. Now, I'm not saying he should lose his vote, okay? But I think his logic is way off. And it's not even just his logic, because, Nick, you're right. You do take off-the-field intangibles, if you will, into consideration, right? Tom Brady's great leadership attributes. Yeah. He made his teammates better. He galvanized the locker room. Fine. And we can see evidence of that. You said it doesn't show up in the stats. It can show up in the stats. He clearly made Wes Welker better. He clearly made Julian Edelman better players, okay? And here's the problem, though, with what you said about Hub's logic or his rationale. Where is the evidence? There is not even a slight bit of evidence that what Aaron Rodgers did in the offseason hurt the team. I would be fine with Hub's
and that's why it's a bad opinion.
If it hurt the team.
That's what you're right.
Yeah, if it hurt the team,
that's why it's a bad opinion.
They're great
because they've been great.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.